and it's called abduction of the thighs. And if you just sit for a second and take your hands on the thighs and press the thighs out into the hands, just do that for a second. And then let it relax. And do it again, and you can probably feel on your own body and see on me. When I press out through the thighs, it lets the low back kind of draw in, and then I'm sitting a little more upright. And then let it go. Yeah, and do it one time. Yeah, so this action of pressing out with the legs can be really supportive for the pelvis and the lower back. And we'll do it in different positions, and it'll express itself differently depending on what shape we're in. Yeah, so we're going to do a little bit more to wake up through the outer hips. And we'll start by, let's start by descending a little bit. So come onto your mat. You can lay down however you're comfortable. Legs can be bent or straight, whatever feels good. And eyes can be open or closed, whatever feels good. Let's take a moment here to check in with yourself. Notice how it feels to be you at this very moment. And start to pay attention to your breath, just noticing how the breath moves, where your body moves when you breathe. And now bring your awareness low in the torso, so below the navel. And see if when you breathe, we want to get a little bit of movement going in there. And we'll change the position of the pelvis, which will affect the breath. So at first, let the low back press into the floor and let the pelvis tuck under a little bit. And you might notice that the breath is unable to go down that low when you're in this position. And now press the back of the pelvis down towards the floor, and without really going anywhere, almost try to drag the back of the pelvis up towards your head, and that'll create a little arch in the back. And then take another breath. See if this new position allows the breath to go lower. Yeah, and then we'll do a little bit of just kind of back and forth. So just take a moment, come back to center. On the inhale, let me move my arms up. You need to see this. Let the back of the pelvis press into the floor and draw up slightly towards the head. And then on the exhale, let the low back press towards the floor. Let the pelvis tuck under a little bit. And these are small, very small movements. So just take that a few times back and forth. This is part of the cat-cow motion, moving in the pelvis with the breath. Yeah. And then let the movement settle. Just come back to center. And we'll bring the knees in towards your chest. Bring the knees in, give yourself a little movement. You can stir the legs around, perhaps. You could go at the legs going together. You could go different directions with the legs. Up to you. So when you're ready from here, we'll turn over to one side. It doesn't matter what side you're on. I'm going to say top and bottom rather than right and left. And let your head rest on the bottom arm. You could either rest with the straight arm, or you could prop up and rest the head on the hand. Now in this position, we'll keep the knees bent and have the knees further ahead than the hips. Let's untuck the pelvis, just neutral low back, not at one extreme or the other. Just find your neutral. And then with your hand, press the top half of the pelvis down away from your head and let the top hip roll ever so slightly forward at the bottom so that if you look at your knees, the top knee is maybe an inch ahead of the bottom knee. Now from here, without letting the pelvis rock back, lift the top knee. You can keep the feet touching, the toes touching, and we'll just hold this position. There's a tendency to want to rock back when we do this, but try not to. Keep rocking forward. Yeah. And then lower the knee. We'll go again, so lift and hold without rocking back. And lower. And then let's go again. I'm just going to press my head because I have the microphone. I don't want it to mess the sound up. And then let's hold in the up position. We're going to go up and down some more, but without holding for so long at the top. So just, it's a slow motion up and down. And hopefully you're starting to feel some work there in the outer hip. We're going to add on to that. Let's pause with the knee up and lift the foot off the foot. And then the knees come towards each other and the feet come towards each other. So it's an internal rotation and an external rotation. Do that a few more times. Good. And then take a little rest. If you need to give the hip a little rub, you can. We're going to take another movement with the same leg. So stretch the top leg out long. Press the sole of the foot out like you're standing on the foot. One more time, keep pelvis neutral, so not tucked, not overly arched. And then keep the foot stamping down that away. And let the top roll ever so slightly forward. Yeah. And now let the, put your hand on the pelvis to keep the pelvis still on the top half. And then roll the legs so the toes turn down towards the floor without rocking the pelvis forward. Yeah. And then we're lower a little bit. Press the foot out away from you to lift. And if you see me here, it's not a high lift. Keep going with that. If you go higher, it starts to go into different muscles, and we really want to have it just right in here. Good, good, good. And we're going to stay in the up position. It's the tiniest amount without moving the pelvis. Let the leg come back, and you'll feel that junction where the hamstring and buttocks come together, that kind of fire up a little bit. And then take the little forward and go again back. And it's maybe like 2 inches. It's not too far. Yeah, do that a few more times. Good. All right, and then relax. If you need to give a little rub again, you can, or a little smack. Let's roll over to second side. I'm going to go this way just so that I don't have my back to you, but you can just roll over. All right, friends, so here we are in our new position. I'll just remind you where to have the pelvis. So untuck the pelvis, just neutral curves in the spine. Move the top hip down away from the bottom hip and slide forward so the top knee is around an inch ahead of the bottom knee. From here, the feet stay together. Top leg lifts, but don't let the pelvis roll back. And we'll hold. And then you'll come down without moving the pelvis and go up again and hold. This side's my weaker side. And down. And go up again and hold. Now we're going to keep going, but without the hold. So just more of a continuous motion, still pretty slow. And we still want to keep the pelvis absolutely still. Next time this comes up, we'll stay, lift the foot, and then the knees come towards each other and the toes come towards each other. Do that internal rotation, external rotation. Yeah. I find this amazing. The first side for me was no big deal. This side's really struggling. If you have a tighter, like a weaker side, rest for a second. Oh, do the weaker side like a few extra times. All right, let's stretch the top leg out again. Press the foot like you're standing on it. Untuck the pelvis. Roll the top hip just a teeny bit forward. And then without moving the pelvis anymore, now rotate the thigh bone so the toes turn down. And then we'll lift a little bit and lower a little bit. It's not a huge range here. up and down. Every time you lift, press the sole of the foot out away from you. It'll prevent you from side bending. Yeah. So it's just a little lift. And then let's stay in the lift. Without moving the pelvis, take the whole leg just back a few inches so you feel that space, that connection between the top of the hamstring and the bottom of the buttocks engage. And then let the leg come a little forward. Do that one a few more times. Yeah. Great. Okay, little break, rest. Okay, friends. From here, let's turn over. We'll meet in all fours position, hands and knees. Feel free to put something under your knees if the floor is kind of hard. And then let's just start with some cat-cows. Just start to move through your spine. And then pause here right in the middle. And in the very beginning of class, before we even laid down, we were pressing the thighs outward. Let's do that here. So pretend you had another hands on the outer thighs and press outward. Just notice what that does elsewhere in the body. And then relax. Do that a few times. So press out and relax. And press out and relax. Okay, we're going to add on options. You can tuck the toes under and come up like this. You keep the toes flat and come up like this. The second one's a little harder, but for some of you, it might not work for the feet and the ankles. So figure out what you're doing with the feet. Let's inhale. On the exhale, press out through the thighs and down through the feet as the knees hover. Yeah. And then on the inhale, come down, rest. Let's do that a few times. Every time you come out, press outward through the thigh. And every time you come down, little break. Good, good. Last time. And we'll all take a little break. When you come down, go ahead, have the toes tucked under. Sit yourself for a child's pose. Walk the knees back if you're able to do that, and press the mat forward with your hands so that the soles of the feet and the Achilles get a little stretch. Yeah. And then you can either stay right like this, or if you want more stretch in the feet, you can come up and sit. Some folks, this is a no-go for knees, and if that's you, just stay down. Yeah, but if you're up and you still want more, you can lean back a little. Oh. Okay, and then we'll come out of that, take the hands down, undo the feet, and just give the feet a little shake. Let's do one leg at a time here. Just push a leg back, toes tucked under, and give yourself a little back and forth to open up again through the ankle and the back of the knee. And then we'll change, switch to side two, back and forth a little bit. All right, so we're going to practice this abduction in downward facing dog. Go ahead and just get there, downward facing dog. And once you're in position, you might want to move around a little bit just to stretch out through the legs. Yeah. And then let's take the feet a bit wider than you normally would. Bend the knees slightly and press the mat forward with your hands. Now at the tops of the thighs, press out like we've been practicing. And notice in your feet, if you do that a lot, the feet will kind of to the pinky side of the foot. Can you hug in a little ankles just so the weight's more even across the foot? And then keep pressing out at the upper thighs as you slowly, the legs start to go straighter. And they might not go completely straight this version. That's fine. Yeah. All right, friends. To get out of this, let's bend the knees again. Walk your hands back, just hands towards the feet. Bring your feet in a little bit, just so that about hips width distance apart. And pause in this forward fold and notice what you feel in the legs, the hips, the lower back, the rest of the spine. And then notice how it feels to come up, just come up to stand. Yeah. So for many of us, the forward fold and the transition, both to go down and to come up, can put the lower back can either overwork or it ends up a little bit pulled. So what we're going to try here, if you know you're tight in the hamstrings, you can have a block down in front of you because we're going to be there for a little bit. I'll face kind of diagonal. Now in your mountain pose with the feet right underneath you, bend the knees slightly, and at the tops of the thighs, press wide like we were doing in the other poses. Hug in a little bit through the ankles. Let's keep that and then start to hinge forward to come down, landing your hands either to the floor or to your block. Keep a little bit, not max capacity, but a little bit of that outward press as the hips lift and the legs, they can go straighter or not. And then to get up, we'll bend the knees, keep the thighs pressing out, bring the hands to the hips and hinge your way up. And to see if that way felt any different on the lower back. Yeah? So I'm gonna keep working with this for really the whole class. Let's stay at the back of the mat. Can move any stuff out of the way. Root down through the legs. Take the arms up overhead or Vahasana arms. Small bend in the knees. Press out wide the upper thighs. And counter that in your feet, moving down through the ball of the big toe or hugging the ankles in, whichever makes more sense. On the inhale, restrain the legs. Lift nice and tall, nice and tall. And keep the outward pressure in the thighs as you come down for forward fold. Let's come up halfway, move the chest forward. And on the way down, we'll walk the hands forward until we get into plank pose. We'll stay here for a little bit. If you need something besides plank, that's fine. Once you're in position though, can you clear the shoulders so there's no hunchy bunchy in the back? Lift up through the belly. And then bend the knees just slightly, just a little bit. And like we did in some of the other poses, at the top of the thighs, press wide, and it's minimal. It's not really hard. It's just a little bit. Keep that, and if your ankles went apart, pull the ankles in just enough so the feet line up straight. Can you keep that and reach the legs? Oh yeah, a lot of work going on in the belly, huh? And then we're gonna put the knees down to the floor, come all down to the belly. Take a little break for a second. You can take a little wait here. Yeah. Right. Go ahead and just rest your forehead down on your hands. I'm going to keep my head up so that I can talk to you. One leg at a time, scooch back and down. And then from here, yogis, think about lifting up through the low belly, specifically the space in between the navel and the pubic bone, so low in the belly. Yeah, keep that lift. Draw back through the legs, pull back through the toes. The legs will hover, but just a little bit off the floor. And I'm looking for work in the hamstrings here, the back of the legs. Yeah, keep work going. And if it feels okay to lift higher, you might start to also feel some work going on in the glutes. At the moment, I want it to feel work in the lower back. So if that's happening, go lower and try again. Pull back through the toes, lift just a little bit, work in the hamstrings, and then maybe a little higher, working a little bit higher more in the glutes. Yeah. All right, lower yourself down, a little break, just a little wiggle for a second. And then from here, let's bend the right knee, reach the tip of the knee back, and without lifting the right side of the pelvis, try to lift the right thigh off the floor. Yeah, and here again, we're going for the right glute, or that space, that crease where the butt and the thigh come together. And then put the thigh down and do that a few more times. Lift and lower. And we don't want to twist the pelvis for this. Yeah, good, good. All right, release the leg and switcheroo. So bend the left knee, stretch the knee towards the back of the mat, and without moving the pelvis, lift the thigh. And it's not going to go high. Just hold for the first one. And then lower down, and do that a few more times, up and down. Yeah. Great. Okay, when you're done, release that. Just take a wiggle. Let's head back to downward facing dog. Your choice, you can keep the feet normal distance apart. You could go wider if you want, or just somewhere in between. Little bend in the knees, press the mat forward with the hands. The tops of the thighs press wide, so the outer hips turn on. The knees will widen too, so we'll counter that in the feet. Hug in a little through the ankles, and then slowly let the legs start to go straighter. Adho Mukha Svanasana, so the Sanskrit for down dog. To get out of this, just come into a forward fold anywhere you want to get there. And on the way up, press out through the thighs, firm the belly. Inhale, we stand. Exhale, release. Yeah, just give the body a little shake, little reset. Next, we'll come into some lunges here. And if you want blocks for your hands, you can set them at the front of the mat. I'll just move some stuff out of the way. Let's keep working with feet a little bit apart, because I find that helps the work on that abduction. So for now, let's bring the hips back, coming into chair pose, not super duper low, just kind of a medium chair. Let's take your hands on the outer thighs and press the thighs out into the hands. Get that widening sensation through the lower back and activation here through the outer hips. Let's add on to that more by lifting the toes up off the floor. Press down through the ball of the big toe. Keep the legs working as you set the toes back down and take the hands to prayer. Inhale here. On the exhale, keep pressing out through the thighs as we take our forward fold, Uttanasana, half lengthen. And then on the way down, let's step the right leg back for lunge pose. Take a second just to get there. Yeah, we'll keep the arms down. On the back leg, without going anywhere, press the ball of the foot to the floor and try to press it back. And do you feel the hamstring turn on a little bit when you do that? Yeah, and then relax. Do that again. Press the back foot down and try to press it back. And relax. Now we're going to work on the leg. Press the heel down and try to press the heel forward. Turn on the back of the left leg and relax. Do that again. Press down and forward. Hold that. Keep action. And do the same on the back leg. Press down and back. Let's take hands to the hips. Come up a little bit. Go bring the torso up. Bend the back knee slightly. And let's do it one more time on the back leg. So press down and try to draw it back as the leg starts to go straighter. Lift up through the belly. Lift up just through the right arm. And if you want to take a little side bend to the left, that's an option. Yeah. Good, good. All right, it's work. And then come out of that, bring the arms down. Just take a couple rounds to bend and straighten the knee. And we'll change sides. You can step, or if you want to be fancy, you could do a little jump. Whatever you want to do. Let's pay attention to the back leg first. Keep your arms down. Press the foot down and try to pull it back to fire up the back of the leg. And then relax. And do it again. Press down and back. And relax. Now on the front leg, press the heel down and forward. And relax. And press down and forward. Keep that on the front leg. Add in the back leg. Press down and back. Yeah. And then to up, let's bend the back knee slightly. Go ahead and bring yourself up, hands to the hips. And then the back foot presses back. Yeah. As you go straighter in the leg. Take just the left arm up, lift up through the belly, the front heel pressing down and forward. Good, good. And then both arms up. Come forward and down, land your hands, take a few rounds to bend and straighten the front leg. And then to get out of this one, let's go to downward facing dog. You're on blocks, move them out of the way. Just a normal downward facing dog. If you want to add in some movement, you can. And then from here, let's come forward and down, meeting on the belly. Staying on the belly, now we'll work a little more with the upper back. Keep the hands by the lower ribs. Lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor and point the elbows towards the back of the mat. On the inhale, without moving your hands, try to pull the hands to your feet, draw forward to come up. And then on the exhale, relax down. Let's do that. And press down and pull the hands back to come forward. And down. Let's do one more time. We're going to stay. From here, friends, if you wish, you can cover the hands a little bit off the floor. Don't let the shoulders drop down, though. So keep the shoulders, the front of the shoulders lifting. Yeah, to get out of this little break, take the arms forward, rest the forehead. Bend both knees, swish the legs a little bit from side to side. Yeah. Great. And then release the legs. Let's go back, take downward facing dog. We won't stay, just get there as a transition. From your down dog, forward fold, Uttanasana, slight bend in the knees, press wide through the upper thighs to the hips, come up with a hinge, and here we are standing. So I think this is sufficiently turned on. We're gonna wake it up even more with the next thing. So here's where you'll want your block or your book. Let me see if you can see me here a little bit. And let me turn the thing. Some of you have done this with before, but some of you it's new. So let's take your prop and bring it next, not touching the wall, but maybe a foot and a half away from the wall. And you'll stand on it so that you have one leg in between the prop and the wall, and the other foot up the block. Yeah? Go ahead and be here. So your leg is on the wall, and let the free leg just angle a little bit. You can do a little swing forward and back. And in a second, you'll see this is less about the moving leg and more about the standing leg. So let the moving leg start to settle down. And the leg that's on the prop, just for a second, how it feels when you stand kind of lazily and the hip juts out to the side. Now we're going to firmly press the foot down onto the prop and let the outer hip draw in. It's very exciting, isn't it? And then let it go and go again. Press down and draw in. Yeah. Now keep going with this, and you want the drawing in action to happen from the leg and the foot, not from the waist of the other side, hiking that hip up. Yeah, that's cheating. So you want to press in with the standing hip. Great. Do that a few more times. And then we're going to stay in this effort, maintain the effort. If you feel okay to let go of the wall, you can take hands to prayer or send the arms to the sky. On the standing leg, keep the foot pressing down and the outer hip hugging in, and keep breathing, yogis. Yeah, it's work, but it's good work. Let's release. Yep. And then before we swap sides, we'll stretch the outer hip a little bit. So turn to face the wall, little bend in the knees, cross the right ankle over, so you're making the figure 4 and you're facing the wall. This, just because we've just worked the muscle, you might be here and that's fine. If you want to go deeper, you can let the hips draw back as they come down. Try not to tuck the pelvis under. Think of the back of the pelvis moving back. Yeah. Keep the right foot active. You're standing on it. Or sorry, what side you were just working? I know we were on different sides. Sorry, guys. Which side was the working side? That should be the lifted one. Okay, and then bring yourself up, release, shoot out a little bit, and then we'll set up here side 2. So, whatever's your second leg, that leg will go up on the block. The new leg is dangling, and at first, let the leg swing. Just kind of be relaxed about it. Yeah. I should have said this before. If you don't have a wall, you could use furniture, anything that you have, you can put your hand. And then we'll let the movement start to settle. Just to see how it feels, let the stand be lazy and the hip, let it kind of swing out to the side. And then press the foot down into your prop and let that hip drop in when you do that. Yeah, do that a few times. Yeah, great. And then keep going and make sure that it's the standing leg that's doing the work, not the waist on the other side. So you could absolutely do that, but that's working different muscles. All right, let's pause. So standing foot's pressing down, the outer hip's hugging in. If you want to let go of the wall, you could take hands either to prayer or up in the air. Yeah. Good. Make sure you're breathing, whatever shape you've taken up. And then we'll get out of that, release. If you need to give the hip a little rub, you can. Whatever side was just working, that's side that goes up. We'll do our figure 4 here. You'll face the wall, bend the standing knee, let the hips come back, and you might do just a little bit. That might be enough. If you want a deeper stretch, you can go back and go lower. Yeah, up to you. You'll stay in the position. Try not to tuck the pelvis under. Let the back of the pelvis drop back, normal curves in the spine. And then the foot, keep the foot flexed and active, pressing outward. Don't have a lazy foot for this one. Okay, and then let's release, just move around a little bit. Good, good. So let me see this. I'm going to have us do a couple warrior 2 side angle triangle poses. If you have access to a wall, you'll be having your back foot on the wall. If you don't have access to a wall, there's this handy little trick. You can take your block and roll it, just kind of make a little thing here so that you have a ledge to press against. Yeah, I'm gonna do this just because it gives you guys a better view, but you can absolutely have your back foot on a wall. All right, so let's stand. I'm gonna I think I'll mirror you for these. So wherever you are standing, have your left foot against the wall or your prop. Yeah, and take the right foot. So we're in this position. Yeah. Left leg's gonna stay. Right leg rotates out, so the toes point outward. And then let's practice what we were just doing on the back leg. Press the foot down and press the outer foot into the wall or the block, and feel how this turns on. Yeah, and then put your hand there and you can actually feel it. Press down and press into your prop or the wall. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And then back off a little bit. Let's bend the front knee. And then for me with this setup, my foot's a little off the mat. If you're okay with that, that's fine. And then once again on the back foot, press down in the floor into your wall or your prop. If you're leaning forward a little bit, that's okay. We're gonna adjust that in a second. Let's take the arms up kind of like you're in a big letter X, and press the palms out like a stop sign. And back arm, left arm, press a little more out to take your torso more upright. You can pretend you're pressing into something. Let's adjust the hands, palms face down. Continue this action in the back leg and turn your gaze to look forward to the right hand. Yeah. So much work done in the back leg. Very, very exciting. And then to come out, let's lengthen the front leg. Parallel your feet. Keep the left foot on your wall or your prop. Bend the knees a little bit, hinge forward and come down for a Prasarita Padottanasana variation. Just like we've been working on, at the tops of the thighs, press hard. Not super duper hard, just a little bit. Counter that in your feet, root down through the ball of the big toe, and then slowly let the legs start to go straighter. Hands could stay right where they are, or you could walk them out if you wish. There's a couple different versions of this. This one, just take whatever. Yeah. All right, guys. Slight bend in the knees. Press out through the upper thighs, hands to the hips. Use your core to hinge your way up to center. Feet together, and just take a moment. Yeah. All right. So we're going to change sides. You can just turn around. I'm going to just pretend I have this set up here, just so I don't have to fool around with it too much. Take your legs out wide, and then the right foot is against the prop, and the left leg rotates out. Yeah. Put your hand on the outside of the right hip to feel it. Press the foot down and out into the prop. Yeah. Firms up. And then relax that a little bit. Bend the left knee coming into your warrior 2. And then once again on the back foot, press down and out and let the outer hip firm in. Yeah, let's keep that. If you're leaning a little forward, no big deal. The arms up and wide. Turn the palms out on the back arm, the right arm press out like you had another wall to press into there. Yeah, once you're adjusted, let's lower the arms a little bit, palms down, and you can turn to look over the left hand. The activity going on in your right leg. Yeah. So much power in the legs. It's so exciting, isn't it? And then let's come back up. Once again, keep the back foot on your prop, parallel the feet, go forward and down here into a press, to Uttanasana. Keep pressing out, so the foot into the prop and the other foot into an imaginary prop. At the same time, press down through the ball of the big toe just to even the weight in your feet. Yeah. Now, can you stay in your position? Go onto your fingertips. Try to press the tops of the thighs back and the chest forward. And then from here, we'll firm the belly, slight bend in the knees. Keep pressing out at the tops of the thighs as we hinge our way up. And then come back together. Yes. Let's take a little Hula in between. And go the other direction. Yeah. So we're going back to side one again, and we'll do side angle into triangle pose. Separate your feet wide. This time it's left foot on the wall or prop. Right leg rotates out. Now from your position, start with this action of pressing down and out, back foot, so the outer hip firms up. And then you'll bend the front knee, let the torso hinge over on the diagonal, and you can lift the heel a little on the right leg, and then let the heel come down. Yeah. Let's stretch the right arm out, and then place the right forearm on the right thigh. Yeah. Left arm comes back. Let the arm take a little half circle down towards the floor, and then up by the side of your face. Good, good. Now, if you're feeling any sort of little twinge in the lower back, just for a second, put the left hand on the left hip, turn the pelvis a little more towards the floor, just a little bit, and then find that action again in the back leg, press down and out, and let the shoulder turn open without the pelvis moving. Yeah, you can reset the arm. Great, yogis, we'll stay for a little bit. Now, to transition into triangle, use the back leg. Keep doing its thing. A little bit, press into the right heel and try to press the right forward as the leg lengthens. Left arm comes up. Yeah, you can just have the hand to the shin, or if there's a block handy, do that. Good. And then slight bend in the right knee. Use your core, use your legs up, come to center. And then we'll come out of that, come back together, just take a moment. Yep, our last side for this, either turn yourself around or just figure it out. So the right foot is on the prop or the wall, left leg rotates open. And then from here, let's work on the actions of the back leg. Down and into your wall. Let the outer hip firm up again. Let the front knee bend and let the torso start to hinge over as you're bending. You can lift the heel a little bit on the front leg at first. And then let's lower the heel down. Place the left palm on the left thigh. And then the right arm, little half circle, down and then up. Keep the actions going on in the back leg. If you're feeling any sort of twinge in the lower back, let's turn the pelvis a little more towards the floor before you come further into it. Yeah. All right, friends, here we are. Keep the actions in the back leg, pressing out and down, letting the outer hip stay firm. As the front leg starts to lengthen, you can reset so it is on the shin or to the thigh. The top arm goes straight up towards the ceiling. Now just a little bit here. Press into both heels and think about pressing the heels away from each other a little bit. No, don't do too hard. A slight bend in the front knee and then bring yourself up. Let's parallel the feet. Come out of the shape, so bring yourself back together. Just move a little bit. Yeah, let's take a hula hoop again. All right. Now from here, we'll change what we're doing. So you can come away from the wall, and if you have the blocks rolled up in your mat, you can undo that. Yeah. All right. Let's move a little bit, clear it out. Come to the front of your mat, find your mountain pose. Root down through the legs. Inhale the arms up. Slight bend in the knees, widen through the upper thighs. Inhale. Exhale, down we go. Keep widening through the upper thighs. Halfway up, lengthen. And then come on down, plank pose. Take a second to get there. And once you do, little bend in the knees. Clear the shoulders, lift the belly, widen the upper thighs, and then keep that as the legs start to go long. If it feels like the ankles have fallen apart, hug in slightly so the feet are straight up and down. Yeah, good deal. You guys come down, knees to the floor, belly to the floor. Take a second. Let's do this. Bend the knees and wind wiper the legs from side to side. Let's clear it out a little bit. Okay. And then from here, we'll put the legs down. Let's press back into downward dog. Go ahead and just get there. We won't really stay. And then from your downward dog, let's go to the front of the mat. Out wide through the upper thighs. Inhale all the way up, stand. And release the arms. All right. So next, we're going to take Warrior 1 into kind of Warrior 3. It's not the exact Warrior 3, but you'll see why in a second. You might want blocks for your hands, so let's just set them up at the front. And to get into Warrior 1, we'll just step back with the right leg. So the right leg goes back, heel down to the floor. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Press the heel down and try to press the heel back. And because the leg is in a slightly different orientation than when it was to the side, you might feel it more in the back rather than on the back of the buttocks rather than the side. Yeah? And then relax. Do it again. Press the heel down to press it back, firming up through the back of the buttock here on the right side. Let's keep that. Bend the left knee coming into Warrior 1. And now think about the very top thigh bones, right where they sit in the ball and socket joint. Hinge forward slightly, and at the very tops of the thigh bones, press apart like we were doing in some of the other poses. Yeah, good. All right, friends. Now in a second, we're going to hinge forward and come up into a sitting balance. That's where the blocks might come in. So you decide. Hands could stay on the hips. You could put the hands to the thigh. You could reach the arms down. So from here, let's come forward. Lift the right leg. And in the normal Warrior 3, the thigh rotates down. Keep it just ever so slightly rotated open so it's more similar to Warrior 1. Press the standing leg down into the floor. And then the back leg, reach back through the heel, forward through the chest. Yeah. All right. So from your position here, let's glide out, rebend the standing leg, reach the right leg back, and then come all the way up into the torso, lifting the torso. Yeah. Great. We're going to go again on the same leg. If you wanted to make it harder, you could keep the arms up or let the arms come down. If you wanted to put the hands down on the blocks again, you can. So from here, let's hinge forward, keeping the pelvis in this alignment. Let the back leg lift. The back leg will be slightly turned out just for this version of the pose. Yeah. If you're feeling the low back working too much, take the arms back or down and step forward. Great, a little wobble, that's part of the game. Let's re-bend and step back, Warrior 1. And then to get out of this, just step forward, and that's, yeah, a lot of work for the front leg too, isn't it? Okay, so let's try that on side 2. Hands onto the hips, step the left leg back with the heel down, and then feel what happens when you press the heel down and try to press it back, yeah? Turning on the back of the left leg, and then do it again. Press down and back. Keep that. Let the front bend. Let the torso hinge forward just a little bit. And at the ball and socket joints at the very top there, widen apart. Imagine the back of the pelvis spreading a little wider as well. Now, from this position, let's do the first one, either hands, hips to the thigh or to the blocks. So come forward and then lift the back leg, keeping the back leg a tiny bit turned out just so that it maintains more semblance to the previous pose. Yeah. And then we'll glide back, warrior one. You can come on up. And then when we come into it again, if you want, challenge arms could be forward or back hovering. If that's too much, just down again. So when you're ready, back heel presses and back, hinge forward, and then eventually here, upward coming, lift. Keep the back leg alive. Keep the front leg alive. And then to get out, we'll glide back into warrior one and take a real warrior one. Nice job. And then step yourself forward, and that's that. Take a moment. Oh, okay, you guys, it's really back there, isn't it? Let's take one more. This next one will be half moon pose. Yay. I know some of you don't like this one, but you'll be okay. It'll be quick. If you want to have your back on a wall, totally fine. Let me show you how we'll be practicing it today, and you can decide how you want to orient yourself. So we'll get into it from kind of like a side angle pose, and it's tempting to just go up, but we're going to stay in this halfway position for a little bit with the standing knee bent. The lifted leg, we're going to go up and down, up and down. So it resembles those leg lifts we did earlier, but it's a larger range of motion. Then you'll stay in the up position, feeling this guy turn on, and then lengthen the standing. Yeah. So for balance purposes, if you need to have your back next to a wall, totally fine. Just pick a side. I'll say side A and side B. Yeah. Okay. So if you're using a block, go ahead and just have the block in your hand so you can plant it down wherever it needs to land. Let's have the block in your front hand, the back hand onto your hip, and then you'll set up like you would do for a triangle pose. So the front is the toes are pointing out and the back leg is turned in slightly. Let's bend the front knee, reach forward, plant your hand to the pinky side of the foot and down. Step the back leg in, but keep the front leg bent as we go up and down on the back leg. Yeah, let's do a few more. It's a little bit like torture, isn't it? Next, you're up, stay, and then lengthen the bottom leg. Yeah, you can stay with your hand to the hip, lift the arm. You can take anything you like here. Everybody's breathing, I hope. And then to get out, let's glide back without a sound and bring yourself back up. Okay, yogis. Fantastic. We'll go second side. So turn yourself around or arrange however you need to. And let's start kind of like triangle pose up. Have the block, if you're using it, in the front hand, and back hip on the back hand on the hip. Front knee bend, come forward and down, planting your hand pinky side of the foot and forward, keeping that knee bent. Let the back leg come in and then go up and down a bunch of times, keep the standing knee bent. It's not easy, I know. Next time the back leg is up, stay. Out through the heel, let the standing leg start to go straighter. And then maybe that's it. Maybe you lift the top arm. Some of you might turn the head to look at the top arm. I'm going to stay looking down for this one. All right, friends, to get out, let's bend the standing knee, glide yourself back, and then upright, parallel the feet, and step yourself back together. Okay, let's just take a little break here. Feet medium distance apart, little wide, but not too wide. Bend the knees, bring the hips back, just rest on the thighs. Yeah, it might feel good to take a little move here. We'll stretch the outer hips in a second. All right, friends, to get out of this, that's what we're gonna do. Widen the upper thighs, hinge your way up to center. And then let's come down to sit with the legs forward, the knees bent. Yeah, we're gonna do a figure four sitting. If you need to do it laying down, totally fine. If you're coming with me, lean back a little bit at first. Let's cross the right ankle over the left thigh, and keep the foot flexed and active. See here how I'm rounding. We kind of did this in the beginning of the class. Can you press down with the hands, drag the left heel towards the left buttock, and then sit up nice and tall. Yeah, great. Now, if you're not getting enough in this position, you need more stretch for the outer hip. Lift the pelvis, scooch it forward, and come down. A little can go a long way for that, so just, know that. And for anybody, if you wanted to add in a little side-to-side rock, that's an option too. I knew a guy, he was very flexible, and he could actually put his leg behind the head, but for this pose, the chest and the leg touching, and then on this leg, the heel was all the way touching the buttock there. I'm like, next time I'm gonna bring a suitcase, we'll see if we can fit you in. And that was always the joke whenever he came to class. We're like, is he gonna fit a suitcase? All right, let's undo. Stretch the leg out. Just wiggle a little bit. Those of you who are on your back, do some windshield wipers. And then we'll set up for side choose a little bit longer than you will be ultimately. Cross the left ankle over, flex the foot, press into the floor, and try to drag the right heel towards the right buttock so that you lift a little bit. Yeah. Now, if this is not enough, lift the hips, scooch a little forward, and then come down. But a little can go a long way, so be mindful there. If it's a lot on your hands, you can do anything. You can go onto your fists, you can go onto your fingertips. I'm kind of the knuckles there. If you want to move a little bit, that's an option too. Okay, yogis. Running out of time, but we're good. We're kind of winding down. Let's release, stretch the leg out long. Give yourself a little babasana. Yeah. Here's for this next one, we'll use a strap. If you don't have a strap, you'll be okay without it. But if you do have one, if it's in a loop, open it up so it's not in a loop. It's just a really big piece. If you want to do this sitting instead of laying down, you can, to you. So let's come down to lay on your back. And then the strap will go both up in the loop. And let the feet go pretty wide, comfortable wide, not max capacity wide. And let them almost fall into the strap. And just feel what happens in the pelvis and the lower back when you take a barely at all bend in the knees and press the feet out the strap. Yeah. And then don't do. And do it again. Press the feet out into the strap. Yeah. Now from here, don't a lot, just a little bit. Try to rock more forward in the pelvis, more towards the tailbone, less towards the lower back. Yeah, and just hold that position. Good. And the press into the strap with your feet, it's light. It's not as much as you possibly can. You don't want to grit your teeth or anything. It's just light. Yeah. And then come back up, bringing the feet not together, but just up. And we'll do the same thing. So press up through the heels, slight bend in the knees at first, and press wide into the strap with your feet. And feel how that goes all down the legs into the hips. Keep that, re-straighten the legs. And same thing, try to untuck the pelvis, moving more towards the tailbone, less towards the lower back. Yeah. All right, friends, and then we'll relax, bend the knees, move the strap out of the way, and just give the legs a little stir. And stir the other direction. Yeah. Good, good, good. So we're heading to Shavasana, our final resting pose here. If there is any movement that you feel you need, go ahead and take it on your own. I'm going to stay sitting, but it's just easier for me to talk that way. Yeah. So as you settle here, a whole lot of work for the outer hips, a little for the back the back of the legs too. Just imagine, without any effort, the backs of the legs widening and the outer hips just softening. A little release. Relax through the belly. Relax the chest. Relax your face, your eyes. And allow the whole body to receive your breath. And bring your attention back to your body. Allow your breath to go down low. And take any kind of movement, anywhere you'd like to move. Whenever you're ready, let the knees bend. Roll over to one side. Take your time to press up to sit. And we'll meet with hands at heart center. And thank your body for everything that it's able to do. And thank yourself for being here. Namaste.